Welcome to another show, another episode, right? We got our boys Joel and Bryan with 10 Net Zero.
Howdy.
And
Excited
glad you guys
to be
are
here,
coming, man.
Excited to be here.
I do say this every time, too. I'm like, two of my favorite people. But for real.
You got a lot of favorite people, dude.
And honestly,
but it's true.
They're all like clients, too, now. So it's like, yeah, this is great. I get to hang out with my boys.
You're
and work
legally
with them.
obligated.
I get to charge them to talk to me. This whole thing's what kind of better friends you got than that?
This whole thing's a shill for Justin's legal practice.
I know. Martin Legal Group.
Let's keep this short, shall we?
No, the clock's running. But 10 Net Zero, off-grid miners.
Yes.
We can do some on-grid stuff too, and we'll talk about all that. But kind of, why don't you guys start with, we do this every time too, but kind of tell you a little bit of background and how you got into it and all that kind of stuff and where you came from. And Bryan, Bryan's one of the rare people who have actually had a successful exit from a Bitcoin company right now. So
I'm looking forward to hearing about it. I haven't heard about it yet.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Fun times.
Well, I'm from Canada originally, East Coast, Newfoundlander.
Why are there so many Canadians in Bitcoin? We'll get to that.
Because it's a communist state.
Oh, man. Whoa, shots fired.
No, I mean, honestly, I tell people I loved growing up in Newfoundland, loved growing up in Canada. It was a great place. I would have no problem raising kids there. But yeah, I worked in the oil and gas industry, moved down to Houston in 2016, right into the middle of that whole election thing that happened. I was like, man, this place is crazy. But, honestly, Newfoundland is a phenomenal place. We're known for being friendly. And I moved to Houston, Texas, and you guys are just as friendly or friendlier. Honestly, I love the people in Texas.
I do agree.
Yeah.
Honestly, I've been to Canada a lot. Love the people for the most part. But Southern people are just freaking nice, man.
Yeah.
They are. And I'm from the Midwest, and I'm like, man, everybody down here is super cool. And Houston in particular, Houston has like really, really cool people.
Houston's a very international city. There's a lot of different people here. But, anyway, loved it. I used to work in the oil and gas engineering side of things. Always wanted to do my MBA. So when opportunity came up to go to Rice down here, it's actually where I met Bryan. Long story short, moved out of oil and gas, got into Bitcoin. People know Stephen Barber of Upstream Data. Me and him went to engineering school together in Canada.
Oh, okay.
So he was my first intro to Bitcoin. He started Upstream Data in 2017. So I'd already moved to Houston. I was like, Steve, what are you doing up there, man? Like, what's going on? Because he left his job and started this company. And I was like, man, okay, that's crazy. At that time, Bitcoin had...
Wait, what year was this approximately?
This was 2017.
2017.
Yeah.
Okay.
2017. So I moved here in 2016. He started that in 2017. Bitcoin had, I think was it 20 grand in 2016, 2017?
Oh, no.
No, 10 grand?
No. 2016?
I think
we were down.
I think it was 10,000.
17 it hit is when it peaked.
You're right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. It was like the first
December.
It was like the first bull
Yeah.
run that got a lot of national attention. Right? People like, oh, I can't believe this thing's worth this much. So anyway, always chatted to Steve. Started Rice in 2018. Met Bryan there. We both had entrepreneurial aspirations. And then left the oil and gas world in 2020, and we started. 2021, and we started up 10 Net Zero, focused on oil and gas energy asset owners, and helping them solve problems utilizing Bitcoin. So that's kind of the Coles Notes version.
Well, I got a question for you.
Sure.
It's very serious. Is Steve Barber as good at baseball as he tells everybody he is?
Well, I have firsthand knowledge of that, actually. Yes. So Steve's a very tall guy, so natural and very lanky, skinny, I might say. Right?
Oh, man.
So he was a pitcher, and he could throw a bit of heat. He was a good pitcher. Now, at the time, I was much more slender and fit, and I was a leadoff one for an opposing team. And, I think I might have had 1,000 batting average at one point against him.
Whoa, man.
I
I can't.
Shots fired.
He's coming on.
The real
next
question
week.
is, does anybody in Bitcoin fuck with pickleball other than us? That's what I want to know.
I still haven't got to come out here and show you guys my old man skills, but I can freaking.
You can pickle?
some pickleball.
We're going to have to go to the
I
bunk
can
and pickle.
pickle on some
I've never
pickleball.
played. I've never played.
You haven't?
Nope.
Okay, we're going to
baptize
you. Yeah.
Well,
Steve's coming on next week, by the way, so we're going to confirm the story.
100%,
we're going to confirm the story.
100% confirm that story. Now, I will say this. When he moved from Newfoundland to Lloydminster, which is where he set up Upstream Data, and you can confirm this story as well. He pitched a no-hitter.
Oh.
And it didn't even make the newspaper.
Dang.
Yeah.
I'm going to throw
It was against a little league team.
I'm going to throw a plug for myself here. I pitched a no-hitter in high school.
Wow.
And lost 1-0. So,
what?
Yeah, disappointing.
How do you lose on a
Wasn't a perfect game, I guess.
The umpire
Did you walk some people?
Yeah.
The umpire hosed me at the top of the last inning, and I froze the umpire on a curveball on a full count, and he dropped the ball. It was a strike, and that kid ended up scoring off of an error. Still hurts me. I dream about that thing. And they were the state champs from the year before.
Ooh.
Brutal.
You could have thrown that football over that mountain over there.
Mountains over there. I'll throw a football over the mountains over there.
1982.
If coach would have put me in.
Why didn't we could have won state? We could have won state.
We would have won state. Coach put me in. Lost my chair, bro.
No, other side, right side.
Other side?
There you go.
There we go. All right. Sorry. Technical malfunction. Bryan, tell us how you got into this.
Yeah, all right. So I have kind of a weird origin story. So my brother moved to Korea, and he got involved with the Bitcoin meetup in Korea. And so he calls me, this is like 2014. He calls me, is like, hey, I can't buy Bitcoin over here. I need you to go on Coinbase and buy me some. So he like, I don't know how he sent me the money, or it doesn't even really matter. Maybe he PayPal'd it, who knows? And so I bought Bitcoin for him, and I was like, well, I don't want him to be right about this, and I don't buy any.
Yeah.
So I bought some too, but I also didn't want to lose more money than him.
Mm-hmm.
So I bought less than him. Because I was like, if it goes to zero, I want to be able to say, like,
you lost
more than me. So he kind of won on that deal, obviously.
That's
but
all right.
That was how I got introduced. And I had actually like read clips of it, like news clippings about it. Just because I come from like a really like libertarian kind of mindset. And just kind of interested in it, even back when it was like, you know, like the cryptocurrency Bitcoin fell to like $1 today, because like the very back page of the Chronicle talking about it kind of thing. So, you know, that was kind of when I got in. So fast forward that story, you know, back and forth, my brother all across 2016 into 17. I'm getting out of the Navy. So I have to decide what I want to be when I grow up. And so my brother again had said, hey, like, I thought of the best name for a Bitcoin wallet, and it was Billfoddle. So like a billfold, but you know, we translocate.
I don't get it.
The L and the D. So then to show him up again, I went and bought the domain billfoddle.com and was like, haha, like I have the domain now.
Right.
So we started like kind of ruminating, like, you know, what could this thing be? And so we build this, it's like a stainless steel device that lets you hold your seed phrase from a ledger or Trezor. So you have to write down your 24 words. And so what our device does is it lets you like write, quote unquote, that in stainless steel, but it comes with these like little letter tiles, and you kind of slide them in. So it's fireproof, waterproof. So we start that up in late 17, early 18, right as I'm getting out of the military, and build it up into a pretty good e-commerce business. So and we just exited. It's for sale on ledger.com. We exited about a year ago. And I still run like biz dev for them a little bit, but that was kind of my intro into Bitcoin.
That is actually awesome, because it's tough to exit in a business in Bitcoin still, I think. And it's a nice success story, right? And you know, maybe you didn't get filthy rich, but
maybe he did. He didn't.
Maybe you
didn't
did.
Say.
I don't know. I heard you lost all your Bitcoin in a boating accident.
Yeah,
also,
that is true.
All right.
I would not say filthy rich or even rich, but you know, you still gotta.
He is filthy though.
You still gotta work. No, it was fun, man. And the exit process is like just a whole nother beast.
Right.
A lot of lessons learned there. It's like a whole nother podcast. We don't want to get into that.
So, and this is part of the origin story of 10 Net Zero. So, you know, I come from the oil and gas side. I've got Steve talking to my one ear. We end up going on a entrepreneurial type trek through the Rice University Rice Alliance. And we go to basically Silicon Valley. It was UC Davis, Sacramento.
Yeah.
With a field trip down to Silicon Valley there in San Francisco. And we went to Coinbase. I think Ripple.
Ripple?
was
Yeah.
on there.
Ripple, huh?
I still
Dude,
have no idea.
That place
what
is
they did.
fucking empty.
Nobody knows what
Really?
they did, but it's
It was-
provocative.
There was like one
It's
person.
provocative. It gets people going.
They gave us a presentation. I was like, Bryan, what are they talking about?
It was weird, man.
It was.
It was real weird.
But
We
we
had
got
this Russian girl like smoking, but like she was giving the present. I think like that was her job. It's just
Yeah.
like give the presentations to anyone who wants to visit. And then they have like, honestly, it was a space about as big as like your office here.
Yeah.
And I think I saw her and like 3 other people milling about. And I was asking her, I was like, and this is in downtown
Yeah.
high rise San Francisco. Like fucking it's can I cuss?
Oh, yeah.
Oh no!
Oh, no. We have to bleep that one out.
Like super expensive office building, obviously. And I was just like, there's no one here. This is like, it's what I expected, but it was also just kind of like eerie and unnerving. So anyway,
they kept the lean startup to it.
yeah, extra lean. Yeah, except for the office space.
So we ended up sharing a hotel room, and then we became really good buddies and started talking about
Tell us about
good
that.
Yeah,
buddies.
exactly. So I was cold.
Oh man.
So
You said you wouldn't tell about that.
yeah, shoot.
That's our secret.
And we just, we started talking about Bitcoin, all that kind of fun stuff. And we realized that we're trying to solve the same problem because Bryan was thinking large scale, it's always
Right.
waste energy. Maybe we can go so big. I was thinking smaller scale because of what Steve was doing. And at the end of the day, we went through basically an accelerator through the Rice Alliance called, what's it called?
Spark.
No, it was called
No?
Ideal Launch.
Oh, that's right.
And we just did a bunch of customer interviewing, marketplace, intelligence and stuff. We realized, okay, well, this is a huge problem on the oil and gas side, the decentralized nature of flares. So that's kind of where we stuck our pin. We're like, okay, we're gonna service this market with Bitcoin, with the idea of solving problems for oil and gas companies, energy asset owners first,
Yeah.
and using Bitcoin as a tool to do that, as opposed to a Bitcoin model being go find the cheapest energy you can, i.e., take advantage of oil and gas
Right.
companies and
Yeah.
build a mine.
Yeah.
So who are the ideal kind of companies that you guys are looking to partner with? Like what kind of oil and gas companies?
Yeah, great question. So we kind of divvy them up into 2 groups. You have the large companies. Their focus tends to be on the emissions reduction side, like they don't want to have flares.
Yeah.
And then you have the smaller companies, anything that's not a huge company. They're much more interested in the monetary cash flow aspect of it,
Yeah.
right? So we can talk on both sides of that. It's like if you have a wasted energy stream, okay, we'll come on. We'll give you a price for your gas that's actually tied to Bitcoin, so you can share in the upside, which people really like. Or, I mean, we can talk about the the flare mitigation emissions aspects of it, but a lot of the bigger side is anyone can do that
Yeah.
side of it. But it's really trying to solve a problem for them. What's your actual problem?
Yeah.
And then let's just solve the problem. Who cares how you do it?
Right.
And then keep Bitcoin as the tool that does it. But
Yeah.
and we've actually had a lot of success that way in talking to people and showing them what Bitcoin is, how it works, how it's not
Right.
scary. It's like, listen, it's just energy arbitrage. That's all we're doing.
Right,
The same
right.
thing you're doing, right? It's just a different commodity. It's just electricity. That's all we're doing. And
Have you felt like you've adjusted your pitch to them from the time you started to the time now? I know I have tremendously, but curious to hear how you guys are pitching it.
yeah, no, 100%. Yeah, no.
Yeah, bro, talk in the microphone.
You
Sorry.
gotta slide over.
You keep
There
wanting
you
to.
go.
I know the whole hotel story, but you keep trying to sit
Yeah.
on Brian's lap over here, man.
There we go.
There you go.
Yeah, no, 100%. It's you go in there, and I use an analogy. If you ask an engineer what time it is, they'll tell you how their watch works,
Yeah,
right? And
right.
it's just like, don't go down that alleyway. Do not talk about Bitcoin height. Do not talk about the time for blocks. Do not talk about ASICs and terahashes. Like you're stirring the pot.
It's You're
You're giving them a reason to not.
Yeah.
it's really hard not to get drawn because they're gonna
Right.
have those questions. I'm like, yeah, like a recent one. He was like, well, I don't understand why, like, what happens if we don't win any blocks? And
Right,
it's like, like
how many times I got to hop through a pool? Like explain that. Yeah.
Like it's like, and then so my analogy that makes sense to me is like, okay, if I buy one lottery ticket, like my chances of winning are really small.
Mm-hmm.
But and there's only one lottery every 3 days, or you know, or every, you know, if we did it like if there was only one block every 2 weeks, right? But there's a block every so there's a lottery drawing every 10 minutes, and like I'm joining this pool with people who have 10% of all the lottery tickets. It was like, we're gonna win eventually, but it just like, even comparing it to a lottery, their brain just like went like, oh, you're gambling? Like, no, we're not gambling.
Yeah.
And so it's just like, oh my God. Like, so just like little things like that is the point I bring it up, is like, you can derail the whole thing. And like, they just like, oh, well, y'all are gambling with my money?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. I think the flare mitigation ESG side pitch is very easy to understand, right?
Yeah.
They have a problem, you come in and solve it. But on the whole, like, participating in the upside of Bitcoin, what is the pitch without overcomplicating it like that, right? And getting them down these rabbit holes to where the whole sales cycle takes forever or just implodes.
Part of the problem that we have run into is once they know that you are going to mine Bitcoin, they think that you have quote unquote Bitcoin money. And so they're like, oh, well, you're going to be making millions and millions of dollars out here. So like we need some of that.
Right.
I was like, well, one, you didn't want any of that a minute ago because it was too risky. So now you want all the upside.
We want it without any risk.
Yeah, whatsoever. I want all this crazy upside with no risk. And so like, that's kind of hard too. It's like, so I think like one of our strategy shifts is going to be like, at least for partially like owning some of the, like going out and finding assets that are stranded.
Right.
And then before we're not even bringing Bitcoin into the equation here. It's like, hey, I'll just buy that from you for liability plus the P&A plus $5,000 or, you know, whatever, like some nominal amount. Yeah. They're like, oh yeah, sure. Take it.
Right. Yeah. And I've noticed too that, you can tell when you go in, and well, maybe not right when you go in, but after you've started that conversation of like, which direction are these guys going to go? Because I have had some oil and gas companies where they do want to dig in. They want to understand, like, how are you making money on this?
Yeah.
And while they still don't want to deal with the risk of putting capital towards a project that they don't fully understand or it's kind of outside.
We think for them, it's just like, do we drill a well or do we do this?
Right.
If you're not the owner of the company, which is kind of like my next question is like, where do you guys have the most success? Because if it's one level down, a lot of people are probably like culturally probably not going to put their job on the line. It's like the safe bet is go drill another well.
100%.
And drilling wells is not really safe, but if you're saying like that's the safe bet,
they've already signed up for that risk.
Yeah.
They know that risk.
It's their core business.
They understand that risk.
Right.
Presumably.
And,
They clearly they build a draft.
They get so wrapped up in like the complications of this, of understanding it, but it's like, man,
it's because it's engineering driven industry.
Right. Yeah. But from a standpoint of like operational difficulty, this is nothing compared to what they do on a daily basis.
Compared to putting like
go drill a well in the Gulf of Mexico, or hook up a generator to your flare stack.
Drilling in 10,000 feet of water.
Yeah, and then turning that 90 degrees.
This is crazy.
Yeah.
Really, when you think
so
about it.
to answer your question a little bit better, when we see success, when we're talking to the higher ups, I'll call them the gray hairs of the organization, is staying away from Bitcoin and talking about energy arbitrage and like, listen, this is just another market. A Bitcoin mine is a point of sale for your product into a different market. And it's a market that's open 24 hours a day. There's no middleman, and I can pay you daily if you want to, right? So the brain starts turning a little bit that, okay, that makes a lot more sense, you know, and okay, let's try something small. And, you know, and the other thing on the success side is, who are you talking to? And it's typically the younger PMs, the younger guys, I'd say, you know, they're late 20s, mid 30s people who already understand Bitcoin to a certain degree. Like, okay, this is just a technology.
Yeah.
And we can use this and we can get an edge over our competition. And they're the people that are bringing us in to talk to people. They're the people who come to us like, hey, I've got X amount of gas. What can you do for me? By the way, I can't put any CapEx in. You know, they have
that's a consistent theme.
Well, very consistent. They have their constraints.
That's gonna be one of my questions. It's like, how many times out of 10 is somebody like, I can't put any CapEx in versus somebody's like, hey, I'll go halfsies with you on this.
Almost very few.
But they have no problem doing OpEx. They have no problem bringing wells back online. They have no problem connecting things together. They have no problem managing wells. So from our perspective, it's like, okay, well, that's equity into a project. Maybe there's a joint venture opportunity.
I'm going to keep asking this question because I want to see how the market's evolving throughout the podcast. But is anybody who already has offtake for their gas now considering the optionality of mining and being able to switch that back and forth? And then also my follow-up to that would be contractual obligations with offtake with the midstream.
Yeah. So yes, there are people who have built a business at least. I mean, Dan Morrison of Amalgamated Sludge, that's his whole business model.
Yeah.
Basically is switching when you need to. Now he's not a huge Bitcoin mining presence, but he's doing that. He saw the value.
He's a cool guy.
Dan's a super cool guy. Just chatted with him. We just did the Midland meetup there last week, and he's a super cool guy, man. And
it's so funny. Everybody knows each other.
And
it's such a small world.
But like he's like a Goldman Sachs analyst kind of guy. He's not your typical Bitcoiner.
He's sharp, man.
He's an oil and gas guy who knows all the numbers, knows how to evaluate things, and he put Bitcoin into his operation because he saw the value in it, right? Like that's pretty cool. On the midstream side, I would say that is our biggest driver of business, at least opportunity-wise.
Walk me through that.
Because
I was about to bring this up. I would say you get the most traction the fastest when the upstream side is up against some wall. The midstream has put some wall on them, and I mean, they've caused midstream has caused a problem on upstream, and it's like, well, we need to solve this like right now.
Yeah. So there's always a sense of urgency. It's like, hey, we just got money sitting here.
Well, they're making all their money from E&Ps, and so there are times where they're going to run into a situation where they can't get a well online, and this is one where it's like, man, you could easily pop in there. And
talking with Dan, he goes, I won't say the company's name. He said X company went. And he spit on the ground, right? Like as a joke. Midstream companies do have most of the power in these.
Oh my gosh!
In these relationships, right? It's not an even type thing. They're like, I'm the only game in town. Yeah. You come to me. Yeah. If I tell you I'm shutting down for a week for on-plan maintenance, we're shutting down for a week for on-plan maintenance. Right. If I tell you I'm curtailing you 60% because something happened way downstream, I don't care about your drilling program. That's not my problem. Like honestly, like that's the kind of.
That makes sense. I mean, Gagliardi's built a whole business on consulting and things like that, right?
Yeah.
Have you seen those?
So when we say that from an opportunity standpoint, it's mostly a problem from a midstream perspective. Yeah. And they're like, what are my options? What can I do? And Bitcoin is a midstream option. It's not your traditional one, but it's a no CapEx solution for a lot of these people. They just they can just sell their gas like they were before, and they can still produce their oil. Like oil is a revenue for most of these people, right? Like that's what they want. If they get shut in, then they got to flare. And a lot of bigger companies have said, we're not going to flare, or we're going to reduce our flaring significantly by 2030. Yeah. Or 2030 or 2025.
Yeah. So if you're the P&L owner, like you got to like ask permission, or there's like, accounting for how much flaring you did. Yeah. And you don't want to be the guy with the most kind of thing.
Right.
You don't want those sins on your right.
Well, and also on the midstream side of things, I think we've talked about this on some of the other episodes, but I still think that there's going to be a time before too long where a lot of the midstream companies are actually offering this as a service, as a fee, right? Like we're going to charge you a fee to bring out a miner just for situations where they couldn't get a right away done in time, and you got a well that's coming online. It's like they're dedicated to the system. Midstream company wants to provide some type of service so that the operator's not shut in for like 3 months while they're waiting on a pipeline. Come out and mine Bitcoin on that so they can bring the well online. I really think that eventually that is something that is going to be going on. But I also think that's an opportunity for groups like y'all to get bought, number one. Yeah. And but do you feel like, how far away do you think we are from something like that, where say even some service companies like Halbert and Schlumberger, all those kind of guys are like, look, we need to bring this in-house and start offering this as a service for situations where we can't get a well.
Are you saying like the midstream group doing mining as a service, or them themselves just mining for themselves? Like they're purchasing it, right? You don't have to sell to the market. You could use it as
they may
just
power. They may just do it and they keep the Bitcoin. But they'll bring in some S9s or something and just run it real cheap.
You think about our whole topic of vertical, be vertically integrated. Man, if you're the midstream guy, you've got you have no shortage of supply of gas,
right? And it's like you could come in, throw a bunch of S9s out there. It's not going to be hardly any capital, and eat up that flare while so they can produce their oil. Yeah. So I think that's going to be
a hard decision to make whenever Bitcoin's ripping and it gets back to like 60K. Like you think about per MCF.
Oh yeah.
Well, this is the idea, right? It's like Bitcoin is another marketplace.
Yeah.
A commodity in a different marketplace, right? Like when we were, when it was ripping at 60K, you were making like $40
right. Killing it.
Right? What gas trader wouldn't be like, I can make $40.
And at the time, it was probably like $4 an MCF, so you're making 10x.
Yeah.
So why would you not have a site? Well, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Why would you not have that as
the question is, why wouldn't you do that?
Right.
So like, it doesn't make sense, right? It doesn't make. I mean, every business to make the most money, you're chasing these tail ends of the business, right? Like the upside, that's huge. It lasts for a little bit of while. You're just trying to grab that lightning in a bottle. Right. That's every single business. That is oil and gas. That is VC. That is all these business models.
You pay all these dues just to have the opportunity to be there when the lightning strikes.
When it happens.
Right. So
I will say you need to have a good attorney at that point, though, to address the royalty issues.
Do you know?
This episode brought to you by Martin.
I don't know if you ever heard of Martin Legal Group, but we offer those type of services and that counseling. So. Go ahead, though. My bad. I had to throw one in there.
And Max, too, right? You said he was... No, he's not a lawyer, but...
he's not a lawyer. You need a lawyer to go handle that stuff. Sorry, Max. You can't do legal advice, buddy.
To answer your question...
Not legal or financial advice.
Right. Disclaimer.
I think you are 5 years out from midstream taking it seriously, and I think you're probably 3 or 4 years out from an oilfield services company taking it seriously.
I was going to say 3 to 5 years. That was my number.
That next bull cycle.
I've heard tales on the oilfield service side. I've heard tales. I don't know if it's any of it's true.
Well, honestly,
I think they're going to have execution problems.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, if they wanted to go out there and do it today, I think they'd have execution problems.
Well, I think what they would do, I honestly think they're just going to scoop up groups like y'all.
That is the first move, but like I think even that's 1.5 to 2 years away.
Yeah, we're away. I agree. Yeah. I think we're a ways away from that. But
that is what will happen. I think it's I've compared this. I've made this comparison before to if you rewind back to like early 90s where there was like Primeco and there was all these different cell phone companies and they all had these little fiefdoms all over the United States, and AT&T and Verizon went around and bought all of them up. And I think like that is kind of what will happen here.
This actually leads me into the next thing I wanted to talk to you guys about.
Well,
go ahead. Yeah,
I wanted to just. Excuse me.
Gross, dude.
That is
disgusting.
Smoker over here.
I did want to add this point to that question is like the reason that it's going to take that long for these companies to do it is because of internal inertia in these companies.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. You still have senior leadership in these companies.
That's a scam.
Right. Yeah. Like that do not understand, do not get it. Unless their customers are out there asking for it,
begging
for it, they're not going to do it. If you look at any of these companies' websites and what their flare mitigation, I think Schlumberger is probably the furthest along. And theirs is like, hey, reduce as much as you possibly can. And when you have to flare, make it more efficient. Like that's your thing. And they're selling valves. They're selling, honestly, most of them are selling platforms that will measure how much emissions you're doing. Like that's where they're making their money. They're selling these platforms and they're selling these just to measure it.
Sensors.
So that, yeah, exactly. Like that's their solution. Like they don't actually have a solution that will help.
They're just letting you know.
They're just letting you know. Yeah. Right. And I should say that, I mean, they obviously have very good technology in their valves and whatnot. But that's where every oilfield services, all the four majors, right? That's where they are. It's going to be a small guy who comes up and says, here's a new offering that's going to add value to the operator. And I think that's going to be a Bitcoin guy. Right. Honestly, I think it could potentially be us, right? Like that's what we're positioning to be in that space. So you have this inertia that you're trying to overcome, and their main customers are, the majors, right? The Exxons, the BPs, the Chevrons, like they will be the late majority adopter of this technology, right?
And they're going to blow up when they do.
100%.
Yeah. And they're going to do it better than anyone else.
Better than everybody else.
Because they're going to be more efficient. Right. They have way more scale. They, they have the best engineer. I mean, the nerdiest engineers, at least.
Yeah.
Like,
so, when you put those two things together.
There's a lot of nerdy engineers.
So many nerdy engineers. Like the Woodlands is full of them. You would know.
I do know that. I know. I'm friends with some of them. Yeah.
Hopefully they don't listen to this podcast, but what usually that results in, it's looking historically in other like business units across the oilfield services side, is they will come in and pay a premium for groups like you guys or anybody else in this space who they want to absorb, use all the resources,
the corporate knowledge,
of an SLB or Halliburton or whatever, and supercharge that, and then they just take
the same thing with a midstream guy. Yeah. They're going to do that because they have the exact same problems. They have to overcome corporate inertia. They all have their little innovation groups, but they're not making the huge decisions. They're just investing in companies typically for a technology that they want to use. Right.
Yeah. Right.
So when you add those two things up, the company inertia, and then the idea that their customers even have more company inertia, that's why it's going to take so long for them to actually do something. Now, it's going to be the small guys who adopt it first because they need the edge. They're looking for that market edge. They're going to be the early adopters. And they're the ones that, that's typically who we're doing business with now.
Yeah.
Right? Like you talk to anybody, you talk to the guys out in Midland, you talk to, the Giga guys. They're not, so it's those the people that they're making deals with.
Well, and so mining requires a lot of uptime, right? And that area that I think is the one that people struggle with, where I think the midstreams will step in, are these non-routine flaring.
Yeah.
Right. And so, because that's the vast majority of the flare in the U.S. is non-routine flaring. Like people, they hear the numbers like, oh man, the amount of flare gas that's going on in the U.S., you could run the Bitcoin network 4 times over. The reality is, from an operational standpoint, that's impossible.
Yeah.
It will not work.
Can you walk people through a few instances of why you do non-routine flaring?
Right. So when you drill a well, you bring it online, you got your IP, right? And you may not either have a pipeline in there, or you don't have enough room on the pipeline, or you just during drilling activity, you're flaring a lot. And so that flare gets counted on that overall number, but it's not a flare that you could actually go as a Bitcoin mining company, go set up an operation, because you're only going to be there for 3 months, like 3 to 6 months or something.
Yeah.
And at that point, then it's going to be turned online. That they're going to be sending that product down the pipeline to a midstream facility, down to an end buyer. That is what typically is happening with the flare gas in the U.S.
Yeah.
So it doesn't make sense for a mining group to go out there and be like, I'm going to sink all this capital and put it on the site.
Yeah.
That's why I think the midstream groups will come in, and service companies will come in and be like, you pay us a service. We're using some cheap S9s. Capital for them is cheap, and they're getting paid to go and just utilize that service to eliminate the flare. There are some flare sites that are more competitive for miners to go try to get, that are bigger, long-term, truly stranded asset where you can get gas and large volumes and scale, but they're few and far between. Yeah. So that's the area where I really think they're coming into play. What was I going to say about that? I forgot where I was going with that one, but that part of it, the non-routine flaring, that's the biggest issue with the flare gas. And so you guys are coming up with an idea, which I like. And I know another one that is talking about it, and I'm not going to say their name because they're my client, but you guys,
do you have some type of privilege with them or something?
It's something like that.
Okay.
And, how does it work if we all have the same privilege?
I know, because literally everybody's like, my client.
Do you just share all of our dirt with us at the same time? Or?
Yeah. I just talk about it without saying anybody's name. But actually, I do not do that. Just everyone, I do not do that. But so with that in mind, that you have to be online as much as possible in order to make this an economic endeavor from a Bitcoin miner standpoint, right?
Yeah.
You got to stay on. You need 2 years, really. Like you need 2 years to run a mine.
In a bull or a bear, it just works out that way.
You need 2 years.
You gotta have 2 years.
Yeah.
And maybe you even like 2 years to break even.
Right.
And that's like, oh well, I have this generator now that's paid for, but like now what am I gonna do with it?
Right.
Like now I got to find another site.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. It's a constant moving. And every time you move, there's a capital cost included and there's downtime included. And that downtime, it just extends your
wife's
ROI.
pissed off because you're not home.
Right.
Kids are sick.
Right.
There's lots of stuff going on.
Always. So with that in mind, you guys have kind of came up with the idea, the Bitcoin as a service. you want to talk about that a little bit and kind of explain what your thought process
sure.
is?
I mean, I'll give you a little highlight, a little vision into what we're doing without, giving away the
don't
secret
give away
sauce.
all the secret sauce, bro. My bad. Did I just screw that up?
No, not at all. Not at all.
This is privileged.
However,
privileged information.
Before I start, I will need some Calumet 15.
Yeah.
If you don't mind.
There we go.
Which one's that?
Right in the back next to the bulb. Yes.
The most expensive looking one, please.
All right, yeah, break this bad boy. Let me give
This is a fantastic bottle, by the way.
I don't. Joel is a little connoisseur.
I love
this. All smells the same to me.
I love
it. Looks expensive though. Go for it.
Good. 15-year-old. I mean,
That's
a good age statement.
That was probably a good gift from somebody. So thank you to whoever. got
Nifty
it for us.
gifty.
Yeah.
Delicious.
Caramely,
pour?
4 fingers.
Is this Scotch?
No, this is bourbon.
Okay, bourbon. All
This is
right.
bourbon. It's out of Kentucky. It's good stuff. Same people who make Sam Houston. Have you ever had that?
I don't know, Joel. I'm
Okay.
This is the
fine.
first time I'm actually drinking a podcast in about 4 years.
Yeah. No.
So
Wow.
I'm enjoying this. Cheers. Yeah.
Cheers. I actually did.
I usually
our-
podcast at like 9 o'clock in the morning, and
With
so
our- with
like
Our Kinley
Kinley,
glasses.
Enron,
Who?
Enron
Is that-
parody.
Is that? Oh my God. Is that Kinley?
That's him. Go get him.
yeah, normally the podcast is like 9 o'clock in the morning. So you guys know it's Friday night and it's like 7 o'clock.
Yeah,
so
it
we're
is
just
a
getting
Friday night.
a little ready for the
So
night's
you don't
activities.
drink it 9 o'clock on a Tuesday morning?
Only Mondays.
Okay.
Only Mondays. Only Mondays.
Yeah, that's fine.
The family man.
Yeah.
So the idea of Bitcoin for a service. And actually,
Bitcoin for a service.
No, Bitcoin as a service.
Okay, so I had it right.
And when Steve comes on,
Uh-huh.
when you ever get him on from Upstream Data, he'll talk about this a little
Mhm.
bit too, because I think he has a very similar perspective. But
again, just to recap, I was setting the table because of that downtime issue. 'Cause this is where I think this is so valuable.
yeah, the downtime issue, right? Traditional Bitcoin mining business models are get cheap energy and run as much as you possibly can,
Mhm.
and
Longest term.
longest term, 3-5 years. If you can run for 5 years, great. Maybe you have to upgrade your machines in between that time, but that's the business model. And that's what Bitcoin miners took to the oil and gas industry, saying, hey, we see all these flares out here. Like, this is a no-brainer. Like, just give us that energy over there and everybody's happy, right? But not really, because as you pointed out, in the oil and gas industry, the problem is non-routine flaring, which is intermittent,
Right.
right? So Bitcoin as a service means that you're the one, it's your equipment, it's your capital, you deserve to be paid for a service. So how do you possibly integrate those two ideas? And I think we've come up with something that would work, is like, if a company, especially a company who says we're not going to flare at all, they get shut in on one of their wells because of on-plan maintenance downstream on their midstream. They're going to be shut in for a month, maybe 2 months, right? Something like that. Or maybe it's a drilling operation and there's no infrastructure there and they know they're going to have gas for 6 months, right? Maybe it's something like that. And they've committed to the market. We are going to capture 99% of methane, something like that. Like, these are their drivers, right? You come in with your Bitcoin mining, your gen sets, you say, you will pay me X amount of dollars for me to take care of your excess gas problem. I will dispose of it. I will do it on a gas purchase agreement, so that now, this is a big thing, there's no scope 1 and there's no scope 2 emissions on that site or that operator, because it's a point of custody to me or our company. It's our scope 1, scope 2 emissions, not theirs. They like that.
We will take your sins.
We will take your
And
sins
put them upon
right,
us.
Right.
My son,
Baptize
we will
yourself in
wear
the
your sins
of the oil and gas company.
Yeah.
We can reduce the emissions from flaring significantly, the CO2 equivalent by, what is it, like 98% typically, something like that.
At a minimum, I'd say like 65%.
Yeah, depending on what their ratios are. We get mine Bitcoin, so we make a revenue, but we get paid for our service. Because all we're doing is turning that natural gas.
You're just solving a problem.
We're solving a problem for them.
Yeah.
And here's the thing. When they say, be here on this date and leave on this date,
We pack up our
that's
shit and
what
leave.
you do.
Yeah.
Because you're a service. And that's the key, right?
Yeah.
Being able to do that. Now, how do you keep the uptime?
Right.
Because the same problem exists
For you guys.
for us guys.
Right.
How do we do this? One, if you can charge a fee and get paid to do your service, that helps. Maybe you don't need a 95% uptime. Maybe you need an 85% uptime, or maybe you need a 75% uptime, depending on how much you're charging. So this is the idea of Bitcoin as a service. And if you can find a hub, and this is where I think this is a little bit of the secret sauce. but it's not hard to find. It's not easy to do. Find a hub
right
on grid where you can hook up 80% of the time.
Right.
You don't need a PPA for 95% uptime. You can take the 80% day rate, real-time pricing on grid, hook your machines up there 80% of the time. And
you
then,
don't have to have a block. That people got to understand that.
Exactly,
right.
yeah.
And before you finish it, just because I think that's important, like people got to understand what you're talking about is taking it from an off-grid site to an on-grid site that is going to have power at it consistently. And it's in particular in West Texas where we get, last week we had negative, I think it was this week, we had negative prices all day long in the West ERCOT hub. So that's a big deal, or the West hub of ERCOT. That would allow you to basically, like you could go run your miners all day long at negative prices while you wait for the next contract to come in and utilize your services off grid. So sorry, I was trying to.
No, it's good. It's exactly. So call it the hub and spoke model. You have a hub on grid, you pay real-time rates or whatever, and then you're out in the field when you get called upon. And, that's the risky part is, what happens if you never get called upon? Well, you still have a pretty decent operate. You're not losing money.
Right.
So you can survive. But the reality is people are asking for this service. There is no short-term flare mitigation, flow assurance solutions on the market today for oil and gas operators.
So do you have any kind of like special edge with like the mobility of like being able to sit? I was a logistics regiment in the Marine Corps, go out of the field, set up shit, tear it down, move locations a billion different times. It's a massive like kind of undertaking. I feel like setting up these facilities is kind of the same thing. Even in our,
so you know what a water buffalo is?
Oh yeah. Never drink the water from the fucking water buffalo. No, bring tons of water bottles with you.
I have no idea what you guys are talking about.
Yeah, just it's a trailer, and then you have these not very smart people who didn't score very good on their ASVAB. They're the ones who are in charge of taking care of your water, and like they like test it and make sure it's like not poison, but it always tastes like shit, and there's like chemicals and stuff in it, and so.
Yeah,
you just go to the PX and just get a ton of like smart waters and bring it back to the field with you. So I was a Humvee driver, so I had to always run back to the rear.
Okay.
So I was always just bringing. I was bringing back the goodies,
you had
like
the goodie bags.
Yeah, who wants the stickers? $10. Come on.
Who's got? You had like the roll
Slinging,
skull.
dude.
Yeah. The cope rolls and
There was one benefit to getting Humvee certified. So. I forgot what my question was. Oh yeah, mobility.
Sorry. Mobility, yeah.
Is there any sort of edge there, or is it just guys go through the painstaking process?
So the execution strategy is the most underrated strategy in the world. Everyone's like, you need intellectual property. Everyone's like, you need, management, or you need first to market. Execution is what makes you money.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And it's going to be an execution strategy that wins the Bitcoin wars or the Bitcoin battle, because
it's a commodity.
It's a commodity, and it's so everybody needs to have lowest cost business model. Like that's the only thing that has to everyone knows what the model is already.
Right.
So it's about execution. So like those are part of the things that you need. You're going to have proprietary, I think, designs on how you make it mobile, but I think it has to be mobile. It has to be modular. It has to be scalable, and it has to be efficient. Right.
You think you start to see like containers on the backs of trucks, like in the same way that you have like an entire frac fleet.
Trailer.
Yeah, a trailer. Yeah,
trailer
you just pull up and pull up, pull out.
Yeah,
like 18-wheelers in the scope of what we're talking about are very cheap.
Yeah, it's going to be about marginal cost. Who can do the best? Who can do the most efficiency? If someone calls me out and says, "Okay, I've got a month-long project. How long does it take me to demob off of that hub and then demob off of that site to get back to the hub?" Right. If you can do that in a day or 2 days or 3 days, if it takes you a week,
you're in trouble.
You're in trouble.
Yeah.
Right. That is, man. See, honestly, this idea that you guys are doing that's the precursor to the service model, right?
100%.
That Bitcoin as a service. That is literally what I think that's what's going to be the future. I really do.
And I always think of it as like Bitcoin, like right now is kind of up at like the high level of like, we have 50, 100, 1 gigawatt facilities like plugged in straight to the grid. And that kind of has to go away, and it's got to start trickling down into the cracks.
Right.
And this is a crack.
Right.
There's a lot of cracks. Like there's so much wasted energy. We found a slide from Lawrence Livermore Labs, where what is it, like 66% of all energy produced is wasted.
Oh, it's insane. That's the thing people don't understand either.
It's like wasted in transmission. It's wasted in heat. It is wasted everywhere, right? So you think like of all the electricity that we generate, we only use 33%.
Yeah, right. And
this is not like a Bitcoiner saying this.
No,
it's
this is
the government.
Reality.
Yeah,
right. That's the reality, and that is the part about the whole energy consumption argument about Bitcoin that drives me nuts.
Yeah,
because it's like you guys have no idea. The vast majority of the energy that's coming from this that doesn't actually get captured.
Speed round on facts here, Justin.
Right,
you ready?
Right. It doesn't actually get counted on the renewable side. Like the mining council came out with 58% renewable or whatever. We should factor in wasted energy on that because I'll guarantee you a big portion of it is starting to come from wasted energy.
Yeah.
So whether it's behind the meter on grid or whether it's flare gas.
Okay. How much energy on the Bitcoin network is considered sustainable?
I mean, 58%, are we saying? Yeah.
Good grade. It's about 60%. Right?
Yeah.
Look at Michael Saylor put these points out there. That's how you know it. What is the most energy efficient form of industrial power usage?
Oh, Bitcoin mining.
What has the highest rate of efficiency gain per year?
Oh, Bitcoin mining.
Exactly, right? It's ridiculous, and it's not even close.
Yeah.
If you held every other industry
to the same
standard that Bitcoin has done on its own, there wouldn't be an industry.
No.
Yeah.
There wouldn't be.
There wouldn't be.
So that's the hypocrisy on this whole thing about the attacks on Bitcoin and Bitcoin mining. Is what industry would you not just in particular, I don't want to get politics, but the left in particular they would be praising so many industries if they got to 60% renewable energy. Yeah. They would be falling over themselves about it.
Since we're in weird stats here, shout out to my boy Paul Sports for this one.
Is his name really Paul Sports?
Yeah, it's spelled really strange. He is like the most nerdy guy I think I've ever met, but he's a cool dude. He's
like nerd cool.
Cool. Yeah. Hey, cool nerds.
Hey, shout out. First of all, there wouldn't be Bitcoin if it wasn't for cool nerds.
That is true.
So cheers to the cool nerds.
Cool nerds. Yeah, that's fair.
There we go.
All right. So Paul, I love you. He'll never hear this, but I'll send it to him anyway.
How do you know he'll never hear this? Maybe Paul might be.
All right.
He might be one of our 11 listeners.
I'm sorry.
Man.
I apologize. I'm used to being on my podcast, and I'm we're extremely self-deprecating on our podcast.
Oh, I am too. Don't worry.
So I apologize. That was out of turn.
Thanks, bro.
There's millions of people listening, and I love
millions
all of them.
Millions are listening right now, aren't they, Jake?
So Europe.
So this is a million listener podcast.
Millions of brain cells.
So the U.S. runs power 60 hertz, right? Europe.
Rome.
Oh,
Europe runs their power on 50 hertz.
Right.
There is, theoretically speaking, 60 hertz is the ideal. You should run it like it is proven with real math. 60 hertz is what you should run it at. They continue running theirs at 50 hertz because inertia. They'd have to change too much shit.
Yeah, you'd have to reshape the whole grid, right?
They lose, I think it's like 15 to 20% of not even transmission loss, but just just because even if you were shipping it next door, just because it's at 50 hertz. Yeah. They lose like 15 to 20% of everything generated. And it's like, so we're calling out the Bitcoin miners for this, but like you guys can't, like, I don't know. I get it.
The hypocrisy it boils down to, it's rampant, but it boils down to too, is there's so many other low hanging fruit areas that you could go after for energy waste or consumption that
solar.
Is like, well, I'm not going to hate on solar. I don't hate on any form of energy because it's like if I'm truly a libertarian, I'm like, hey, free market guy, and if these things improve and they continue to scale, good. I'm all for more forms of energy maximalist, right? But
let us not forget how much capital was torched in the shale revolution this last time.
Right.
How much? 200 billion.
200 billion.
200 billion.
Can I hit you with a quick stat?
Yeah.
In the last 10 years, I think it was $10.4 trillion was poured into the renewable space, and it offset fossil fuels. And I could be misquoting. It's either 83 to 82 or 82 to 81%, i.e., $10.4 trillion was spent in the last 10 years.
Like less than 1%?
and it made a difference in fossil fuel consumption by 1%.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah. Like I agree. I get all that. What my point is that we are better off if we have more diverse energy.
That is true.
100%.
Right? So I'm like, look, I'm fine with you guys trying to improve it, but the reality is you got to have intellectual honesty in this whole conversation.
Yeah.
Like, we're not at a point or anywhere remotely close.
I think it's just being pragmatic about your approach to how we produce energy.
Right. Yeah. Right. And also be honest about the realities of what you're doing. Don't call it clean versus dirty. That's bullshit. It's not true. Go look at what they do when they're mining lithium or cobalt and all that. Yeah, it's like this is insane.
When I was in Midland, someone called oil and natural gas organic.
right.
It's true. It's organic. Every part of the definition is very much organic.
But to your point, what you're talking about, and I think this is where Bitcoin and oil and gas need to come together, right? It's like oil and gas, fossil fuels is being vilified.
Right.
Even though they are the best producers of energy,
most
the cleanest,
efficient.
They are the most safety conscious. The things that oil and gas have done for the world, like you talked about standing,
most transportable.
You talk about
the other thing. It's like
easily, not even close.
It's like we worry about like
quality
there being energy here instead of there, and we're losing in transmission. It's like, well, you could put it on a truck,
right?
If it was,
we can take
if it was North gas, Dakota, you could put it on a truck
down to South
or
Texas.
A pipeline,
right? Yeah, we can move it where it's needed to go.
Like
easily.
Bitcoiners will say, this is how great we are, but oil and like anyone who shits on oil and gas, like you talk about joking around, like sitting on the shoulders of giants and spitting on their feet, like you have no idea.
Yeah,
like
they
even
do it
within 100 years,
right.
what amazing prosperity and human safety and quality of life oil and gas has produced for the world.
Right.
And the people who did it have overcome the most amazing technical challenges to do it, and they get shit on every single day to the point where kids do not want to go into the industry.
I saw in Calgary one petroleum engineer, and I can't remember what, University of Calgary or something like that. One petroleum engineer student.
Yeah.
That's insane.
It's wild.
That's bad, and we're going to pay the price for that one day.
I think it was Peter Thiel was on a podcast. I think it was out of Stanford on Common Knowledge, and he said someone asked him. He was talking about, like, okay, what should you be looking to do? He goes, do what no one else is doing, and right now that's petroleum engineering.
Right.
If you want, like, everyone's doing tech, everyone's doing all this stuff. Go to petroleum engineering. You will have the highest paying job of all these people.
Founders, and he runs Founders Fund, and they've put their money where their mouth is. They've made at least 4 or 5 investments in oil and gas technology that I know about. And so that's one of the reasons I've always been a fan of his, fan of his books, fan of just kind of him in general. But yeah, being one of the only, like, especially being part of the PayPal mafia, being one of these big, respectable figures in Silicon Valley and fucking with oil and gas the entire time all the way through.
I got to say something real quick. Jake, that mustache is dope, dude.
You like it, dude?
I like it, bro.
Dude, that's the second time I've heard that today. It's growing. So I'm getting a lot of gray right here. And I was on my Zoom calls. And I was like,
the hell
33.
Up, bro.
How
Look
far are
at
you
me.
from 40? You're only 7 years from 40?
I'm only 7 years from 40.
Only 7 years from 40.
And so I stayed in the mirror and I just went, I just shaved it off and I was like,
oh no.
I was like, I'm going to do a stash. So I tried to keep a straight face coming in. So we do our stand-up meetings every morning at 9. And I was the last one to walk in strategically. And it was like, let's just see what kind of laugh we get out of people. And I was trying to keep a poker face and I walked in and I couldn't hold it together. Everybody just burst out laughing. They were like, what the fuck happened to you? So yeah, I look like a cop right now.
Colin's got a pretty shaggy beard going.
It's a pretty shaggy beard. I'm trying to shame him into at least cleaning it up a little bit. Like something like yours, right?
Yeah. Well, I
just saw him the other day though, and I was like, dang, Joe, that thing is getting stout.
Mine was a little wild there.
Yeah.
So I go to
like the Liver King vibes.
No.
Just like shirtless, dude.
Do I look like Liver King?
Dude, you look just like Liver King.
Pretty much, yeah. Everything he learned from me, actually. I'm gonna give this guy a shout out because I think he's phenomenal. He's just about to start his own business too. His name is Steven, and he was actually at Floyd's 99 in the Heights. But
yeah,
as a guy, maybe you guys know this, maybe you don't, or you feel the same way. I did not trust hairdressers. I did not trust barbers. Every time I went to a place, I got my hair cut and it sucked, or it was terrible, or they did a great one time, I got a new one. Like, it just hated it. I found this guy, and he's fucking legit, man. He's really good. He loves what he does, and he's phenomenal. And I've been going to him for probably maybe a year or so, and like religiously. And I'll go every like I let my hair grow out and I let my beard grow out every 3 months. he does my beard up nice. He does my hair up nice to the point my wife is like, wow, your hair actually looks nice.
Dude.
And I'm just like, there you go. He's the bee's knees.
Hey,
man.
Go ahead and give him a shout out so we can get a sponsor on. I'm gonna Vinny's Barbershop. You guys clean me up nice.
Yeah.
I've been to Vinny's.
Oh, have you been to Vinny's?
I think I've been to Vinny's.
Oh, yeah.
It sounds familiar.
But I've not clean shaven in 8 years.
Dude, there's no telling what's under there.
Since I got out of the Marines, I said I've not touched an actual razor with like shaving. This is the closest that I get.
accidentally cut too close one time when I was doing my own beard. My wife was like, and so I cut it to that length.
Yeah.
She goes, what are you doing?
You look ridiculous.
She's like, you don't even look like you. Like, it's like, honestly, it's like.
Colin did show up fucking clean shaven one day.
I remember
and I could not look at him. We were in a meeting and I was just like, I could not make eye contact because it was so weird.
It was like a crime had been committed and you're like,
yeah, I'm like, I can't.
bad for him.
You can't look. You can't look. So maybe the stash is here to stay.
Yeah, man.
I just feel like it was very Bitcoin of me.
Do you know what? You don't see
like,
that many people like sporting a strong, stout stash only.
I did have back in the day, about 14, 15, I had the curly stash.
14 or 15?
You were 14 or 15?
No.
I was like, holy
in
cow,
2014, 2015, I did,
Woo.
but it went with the beard. I had a beard. It was the longest beard I ever had, and then I had a curly mustache at the same time, but it didn't last. It didn't last very long.
Mine, I call it the bandito because I have a little empty spot.
Oh yeah,
and it grows in real nice and faint in here. So
like we could do
I can't do it
as Western. Like if we were like cowboy days,
yeah.
like I could see all you.
Well,
guys.
I mean, you've got the attire covered pretty much.
Man. Oh yeah, you got the
I smoke
like
peyote attire.
Clint Eastwood serape.
Yeah, man, I got
Make
the
my day.
yeah,
thing,
man.
right?
Like,
Yeah.
I'm all down for that.
Speaking of that, I'm gonna give you guys a
Wait,
little.
look at this.
Oh yeah.
Oh, there you go.
All right. Yeah.
I guess everybody who's listening to this podcast will hear this as well. But we shot a commercial for Empower using Gideon.
Oh, nice.
And it's like old school, like Western style. It's gonna be pretty funny.
Okay.
It's Gideon, a horse, and a ranch, and he also flew a helicopter in.
God love him.
And so we just had to capture footage of that.
Who do you think is the biggest baller in Bitcoin? Like that,
the biggest ball. What do you mean by baller?
Yeah, how do we define baller?
Yeah, how do you define that?
How do you define baller?
I would define it. Okay, I'll tell you. Gideon is one of my favorites. Like Gideon, and
but I feel like there's a
is,
connotation of baller where it's like you're like kind of braggadocious, and he's not.
Yeah, no, he's not.
He's not.
No.
He's the most salt of the earth realest guy you've ever met.
I don't think baller necessarily.
Yeah,
means that.
I wouldn't necessarily say you're braggadocious.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know who I would answer though.
Yeah,
like charisma from a charisma standpoint.
No,
gotta be Gideon, dude.
But that's not what I'm talking about. I'm like, who do you think like walks the walk, talks the talk, walks in a room? People are like, look at that fucking guy, like that guy. Who do you think?
It's probably Justin.
Justin?
Appreciate it, bro.
You must be going to some pretty small rooms.
I gotta gas my man up, you know?
Heat.
Thanks, buddy.
I gotta gas him up, you know?
Thanks.
Oh man.
I got you, dude.
I appreciate
It's
it, bro.
you.
I'd like
All
your
day, every
mustache
day.
too all
I,
day.
mean, I don't think my network is particularly large. So like there's a couple people that I know. Like I think Marty Bent's one of those guys. I think Barbara's one of those guys. And I think Gideon is like the guy.
I'd
don't know
agree with
him.
all three of those.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I saw Marty last week, and he's got that charisma, even though he's a quiet dude. You know what I mean? He's just like he's a quiet dude that commands a presence without having to say a whole lot, which is awesome. I love that.
You know what's cool?
Barber, I freaking love Barber.
Yeah,
he's one of my favorite people, not just Bitcoin, but like he's just one of my favorite dudes. Same way with Gideon, just like.
So Gideon,
Gideon is like the type, like when you talk about walking the walk, like that dude puts things in a way that very few people I know put it.
I'm going to share some private DMs. So Gideon, he texted me and he said, he's like, y'all inspired me by coming on the podcast.
Yeah.
Right. He said, God put me on this earth to reject any narrative that doesn't elevate human prosperity.
See that?
God
I love that.
Right. And I was like, fuck, I love that.
He was the guy who I first heard that Bitcoin is property rights enshrined in code. Right?
Gideon walks the walk. Like he what he says is what he believes. There's no bullshit around him.
Now,
and I love that.
Yeah. I think what's important about it is like he's free to do that, right? Like he can't do that. I think Marty's got to a point where like he's like, I'm free from this shit too.
But Marty came through this is no knock, right? But Marty, and I don't know his backstory a whole lot, but like, I feel like he completely established himself like without a whole lot of help. Like he came and just did it. Yeah. And that's awesome. Like I really admire that.
Marty's crushed it, man.
Yeah.
He's a real dude. So we sponsored his Bill Fottle, my company, sponsored a couple of his like newsletters. It's like the Daily Bint or something.
Yeah.
But it didn't get traction, you know, didn't meet any ROI or whatever. But like 2 or 3 years later, it was Miami this last year at Bitcoin. Was that 2022? Yeah, Bitcoin 22. And he was like up on the stage, you know, like doing the interviews or whatever. And so I just waited and I was like, oh, hey, Marty. And he was like, yo, what's up, man? Like he like remembered me and everything. So, anyway, just he's a real dude.
I met him at, he came up to one of the Houston Bitcoin meetups. We were chatting or whatever. And I said, I was like, Brian's my business partner. He goes, oh, Bryan, man, I love those guys. He was talking about you and your brother.
Yeah.
Like, he remembered you. Yeah. You know, from the trenches back in the day.
He's a real dude, man.
He's a real dude.
Yeah. Yeah. I also like Parker a lot.
Yeah.
Like,
the more we drink, we're just all broing out, man. I just love that guy.
I know, man.
But Parker is the hardest working man in Bitcoin.
Dude,
what is Parker doing now?
Everything.
He does everything, in my opinion. Like,
I feel like I saw the notification that he left Unchained, and I was like, well, what is he doing? I'm curious.
Dude, a lot of people wonder what all of Bitcoin people are doing.
he's on the board of Unchained,
right?
But he's not. But he's not actively in like a business development role.
Oh, okay, yeah. But he still comes to the Bitcoin meetups.
He's still doing that.
That's what I'm saying. I don't think
Parker. If you listen, I'm not talking shit. We haven't talked. I don't know what you're doing now.
He's coming on. Empowering.
I will say this too. There's another guy in Houston who's I think extraordinary. Honestly, he's underrated, but is Mario.
I love Mario. Man. Mario's one of my favorite.
He might be the most connected guy.
Mario might be the hardest working dude in Bitcoin. Like Mario
fucking knows a lot of people.
He is just
he literally every single
machine.
I'm like, hey,
Mario Gutierrez.
Yeah,
solid dude, and honestly, coolest geologist I've ever met in my life.
Yeah, and I mean
that's not saying much, but all right.
Yeah, that's not saying a whole lot.
We love the geologists here.
There's so many layers to those guys.
Right. Get it. Boom.
Boom.
I like it.
Podcast is over.
Just multiple pay zones to the geologists.
Now, okay, that's us. That's Houston Network. Bryan, you've been around a lot longer, and you have a lot more international connections.
Well, I don't know.
Tell me some people that you like. I don't know, look up to, or who are people that you think like this guy's the bee's knees, like. Boss guy or gal.
I mean, I have my mentor here in Houston, Ali. I would say I don't know. I don't want to say his last name, but just really successful in Bitcoin early, and we just kind of really hit it off.
I'll tell you who oh, my bad. Go ahead.
No. And then the Ledger guys, Eric, the founder of Ledger, another old school Bitcoiner.
The person I maybe respect the most for like taking what they believed and actually putting it to practice.
My ears are burning.
I know you, Joel. Joel Fulford. You are up there. You're number 1A. All right.
1B.
No, 1A.
Oh,
you're 1A. Gerson Martinez. And not a whole lot of people know who he is, but he is one of the nicest people I've ever met in my life. But this dude.
That's how he got me.
Super sharp. He left like a Wall Street job, cashed everything he had made, and just mines Bitcoin now and gets hosted to do it. But like, he's from El Salvador. He's got a great backstory. The dude is incredible. Like El Salvador is now like kind of looking to bring him in to work with the government. And he is literally like, if there's anybody I admire in the space from just a standpoint of like walking away from the fiat world and like diving full bore into Bitcoin, I've never seen anybody that I respect as much as him, from literally just like, I'm done. This is where I'm going.
Yeah.
And that's what he does. And it's
good for him. Yeah. That's awesome, because you don't hear about all these people.
No.
Jake, what about you? You've been.
I think honestly, I'm going to be, I mean, this is super shitty and not trying to just like suck y'all's dicks or anything, but like you guys, especially like this core group that made Empower last year. So if people don't know, like, you know, we did the Empower event. We did it last year. We had 1,200 people show up, but that started off so we had the Crusoe guys on the podcast, on Oil and Gas Startups podcast. And I don't know exactly how things played out, but then we met Mario, and then we met Parker, and then we met you guys, and then we met Olympia Creek guys. So Griffin and Ivan, and then we met Gideon, and it just like Empower was supposed to be a backyard barbecue in this parking lot, right?
Wow.
With like 200
Crazy,
people.
man.
That was
know
what it was supposed to be. And then it turned into what it ultimately became. And it was a very strong
premier
core group
Bitcoin event of the
Right.
freaking century.
accidentally, which is what the amazing part was.
The
but
best
that was
Bitcoin
like,
mining event every year.
Everyone who went, and this is, I mean, I'm just gonna pump your tires a little bit. Everybody who went said this is the best event I've been to the entire year.
Right.
And they went to every event.
Yes, even over Bitcoin conference.
I'm not gonna lie. I've had a few drinks now. I'll say this: day one, showing up to Empower, like that was the biggest event we'd ever put together. Also, context: we pushed all of our chips in. That cost us as much revenue as we made the entire year prior.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah.
We were literally embodying what it means to be a wildcatter and literally saying, if this doesn't fucking work, we're putting our reputations and our lives
You put those
on
on
the
the
line.
table, dude.
on the table. But thanks to you guys
Yeah.
and thanks to this community, like we pulled it off and it was like fucking amazing. I was like pretty emotional day one, seeing the magnitude of the event. I was
Yeah.
like, oh shit, this is huge.
I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm a
It
little
was-
disappointed.
It was
Unfortunately, I didn't go.
Oh,
So is that what you're
Bryan.
disappointed about? Is that what you're
That's
going to
what
say?
I was gonna say, Brian.
No.
I was really disappointed you didn't
From
show
what
up.
I've heard, though, and I feel like maybe this is even value add here. Someone who didn't come can say what they heard. It was the mix of people there, because it wasn't all just like Bitcoin. I'm going to be a little crude. Bitcoin circle jerk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
There was like
There
like
was
people
real
from
talk.
Exxon came
Right.
just to, I mean, not to be like, yay, rah, gung ho, I love
Yeah.
Bitcoin, but just to like, well, what's this about? Right. And
Right.
so like, I know Joel met some people there that we benefited from that, like, it drew a crowd that was not just like there
Fanatics.
to rah Bitcoin,
Right.
which there's a place for that. And that's always fun. Like, so
Miami.
you go to Bitcoin, you go to Miami
Right.
to Bitcoin
Miami.
2023.
Yeah.
Like, it's a great time, but you're not going to meet like
Oil and gas companies.
yeah,
Right.
yeah,
Shell
yeah.
is actually
Shell.
sponsoring
So maybe
that,
it's
which
different this year.
Shell,
I don't know.
I'm
We'll see.
sorry, but why would you not be sponsoring something in your backyard? You know what I mean? I'm not
If
trying.
anybody's in contact with Shell, I would love to talk
We
to
would
you about
love
sponsoring.
to talk to Shell. Right.
But
I
on
will
that
say,
note,
though,
we are
I'm-
actually like I've sold 75% of our sponsorships for this year, and we are 3 weeks into the year.
Wow.
That's impressive.
Yeah, it is. So like, so just to, I don't want this to be a whole show for Empower, but like this year will be absolutely bigger and better in
Despite
every
a
single
bear
way,
market.
despite the bear market.
Right. Just think when we get into next year, dude, and the like 2025 is gonna be sick.
Yeah.
Like,
But I don't know if
that's
y'all
gonna
been
be
to
crazy.
have y'all been to the 713 Music Hall?
I haven't been.
That's the
yet.
new venue. So
Yeah.
we did Eighth Wonder last year. We love those guys. But ultimately what it came down to was building infrastructure to do something festival style is wildly expensive. And then you also run the risk of rain, right?
Yeah.
And so
Which you ran into.
we ran into for the
Right.
first hour of Empower. Anybody who was there for the first hour, like that totally sucked. And I thought that was like the end of us. I thought I was going to have like, a
Right.
mental breakdown. And then it turned around and it was beautiful and it was wonderful.
You know what I love though? Like as an entrepreneur,
Yeah.
behind the scenes view of being like, my God, my life is crumbling before.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
It's so stressful.
It
You know what I mean?
is.
Like,
It is.
well, all of us. Here
well,
have been
yeah,
entrepreneurs,
like
you know what I mean? It's
you
like-
get these like moments where you're like on the mountaintop, like, oh man,
Yeah.
I am
so
fucking rich, and then
fast.
all of a
Yeah.
sudden you're like,
Oh,
I'm broke.
Shit.
Yeah.
I'm like,
my wife's gonna leave me.
I'm
Yeah.
Yeah.
destitute.
Right.
How do I even feed my children?
Yeah.
I know.
And it can happen
Dude.
just
Gosh, I
Bam!
love that stuff because you can't explain it to
No.
people who haven't done it.
if
You know what I mean?
If
It's
you've
like,
had a guy who's like gotten a W-2 for the last 20
Right.
years, there's no
they don't
way.
get it.
No.
They don't get it. How stressful,
That's
but
why.
exciting. and-
That's why
Yeah.
Wildcatters is such a great name that you guys.
Yeah.
have,
Yeah.
Right? Like
I
think,
wish there was a lot of thought that went into that. We literally like
Digital
digital
Wildcatters.
Wildcatters. We looked at the URL. It's available. Bought
Yeah.
it. Made a YouTube, and that was it.
But like, there are people who are entrepreneurs that follow you guys because they're
Right.
entrepreneurs. They're not digital.
Right.
They're not digital.
Yeah.
They're not
Right.
Wildcatters.
They're not oil and gas guys either.
Entrepreneurs.
Yeah, they're just.
Yeah.
It's just like entrepreneurs are, especially now, are digital Wildcatters.
Right.
Yeah.
They're just like
Yeah.
trying to do
It's
something.
just a
right?
different name.
I
Love
do
it.
gotta say though, Jake, I'm a little like I think I was on more panels last year at Empower than anybody else.
You were literally the man.
And you
got
guys
the
haven't
MVP.
had me be on one yet this year. I haven't got any emails.
What?
I haven't got any. I haven't got asked to
Wow.
speak on anything.
I think
Julie
everybody-
asked earlier. She was like, "Well, we can maybe put you on one." I was like, "Are you for real? I can
All
get
right.
like a few."
All right, I'm gonna slide you in. I'm
Come
gonna slide
on,
you
man.
in. I thought you were a workhorse that was worked out. I
I'm
thought
ready,
you were.
dude. I'm ready to Go.
You remember those giant Beetle statues?
He's not a workhorse who's worked out. He's a stud horse
I'm
that's
a
just
stud
ready
horse.
to ready to go, baby.
I'm ready to go.
All right, Justin's moderating
pumping them
every
out.
single panel for Empower.
Remember those Beetle statues?
Oh, yeah.
Just make one of Justin. It's like
I know.
behind the stage, like
Just holding it. Right?
But anyways, this venue, so it's the premier new venue in the Post. The Post was the 100-year-old post office.
How'd you find
building. I'd heard about it. So the Post they dumped a ton of money into. They totally renovated this place.
Like
And
the
so
Houston
it's-
Post?
Yeah, the Houston Post.
The now derelict.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So no post office things are happening there. They've got a food hall. They've got 713 Music Hall, and it's the newest music venue. And so it's super dope. We don't have to worry about rain. It elevates the experience. When you walk in, you feel like you're in like a music venue on the Death Star. You're like, oh my God, this is dope.
Excitement
It's
and
modern.
terror.
It's like ambient lighting everywhere. We're still gonna have an outdoor section with like equipment and stuff. So like Giga and Upstream and those guys can bring their stuff out.
Yeah.
Dude, speaking of space,
I actually
super
wrote
excited.
a Bitcoin song, and I should have brought my guitar
Joel,
to
I'm so
play it
disappointed.
here.
Do you
Why
want
did
to play
you
the
not do
Bitcoin?
that?
I want to hear this Bitcoin song, and if it's good, maybe you play it on the stage at Empower.
Oh,
Ooh,
wow.
I like
That
that.
I'm gonna make you
is-
that offer
that
right
is
now.
pressure.
Content king
Hey,
over
I
here.
play
I
and
like
sing
that.
too, so I'll join you.
Woo.
I'll play with you.
I'll play the
man.
bongos.
Is it an acoustic song?
Voice of an angel.
Yeah,
There's a room for
100%.
bongos in the background.
It's to
Ooh.
the tune of "Rockin' the Free World" by
okay.
Neil Young. Sorry, I mean, do you want?
you would
No,
definitely play.
you should not. You should not divulge now.
Don't spoil it.
okay.
Don't
Yeah,
spoil
no.
it.
This is a Empower only type of.
power only
Yeah.
exclusive release.
Right,
Oh.
right.
So
Well,
if
I
you
mean-
want to hear Joel sing this song, the Bitcoin song,
Right.
come to Empower.
Yeah.
I mean, my saving grace is no one heard the other act at Empower because everyone was like drinking. So I could just get on this one. And be
I was
like,
actually thinking about doing the Jimi Hendrix national
Oh,
anthem
okay.
on
Ooh,
stage.
Star
Wow.
I've
Spangled
been
Banner.
wanting to do that for a while, and I'm like, this is the most dope music
perfect
venue.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm gonna have a musical career after this.
Do
so,
it.
like, I might as well just do this.
Yeah,
You
you,
know
gotta
what?
go
No.
for it.
If I have any advice, do it Stevie Ray Vaughan style, just to get the Texas crowd.
Okay.
That's-
Okay.
Mm.
Yeah.
That's the way I get it. Okay.
Not
I'm
only
gonna change
is
my rendition up a
Joel-
little bit.
You got a
a
couple
whiskey
weeks.
connoisseur. He's a music connoisseur over here. I like it. I like
Actually,
it.
do you know what? I got introduced. So I went to Alberta for a while. Alberta is the Texas of Canada,
Right.
or as they would say, Texas is the Alberta of the U.S.
Yeah,
That's
sure. Yeah,
that's ridiculous.
that's
Never
bullshit,
say
but
that
okay.
again.
No,
Get
100
out of here.
No,
Yeah.
no, 100%. Do you know how you tell? It's like when there was the mad cow disease, where did the beef go? It's like they stopped the Canadian beef. The U.S. beef was all over the place. So shout out to
I don't know what the
shout
hell
out
he's
to
talking about.
Alberta.
What
No, the boys are great. But I was up there. My uncle gave me a 1995 Fender Stratocaster,
Oh, nice.
candy apple red with a matching headstock, maple fretboard. He bought it in Houston at some trip because he was an oil and gas guy.
Yeah.
He was a geologist, I think, geophysicist. But he gave it to me for my birthday one year, and I played that thing fucking flat out. And I got a Stevie Ray Vaughan
Strap.
guitar strap.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
nice.
sick, dude.
And then here I am in Houston all these years later,
Yeah.
playing guitar,
Slinging Bitcoin.
and it's just like, kind of a, full
Full
circle. a
circle,
little
buddy.
bit,
Yeah, there you
know?
go.
I like it.
All right.
Except
Man.
I am nowhere close. I'm not that good at guitar.
You're
But I'm
as
trying.
good, if not better, than Stevie Ray. I think is
Yes,
what.
but I
yeah.
will never get into
That's
a
what we heard.
helicopter in my
Yeah.
That's
life.
the rumor.
Oh, you're a
Oh,
helicopter pilot.
yeah.
Yeah,
Poor-
you're a
poor Stevie
helicopter
Ray.
pilot?
I am. Yeah.
Dude, I flew in helicopters in El Salvador over some volcanoes.
Wow.
Do what we need
One of
is
the
now that
coolest things I've ever
Gideon
done.
flies helicopters, you fly helicopters. We should do something.
I ride in
Like a
helicopters.
chicken with dual
We need to do
helicopters.
chicken,
That's
yeah.
what we need to
Is
do.
there any way you get two Blackhawks off the base?
Yeah. Let's
You
go.
know, a couple hours.
Yeah.
Dude, you look like a pilot now. Look at this guy over here. I like
You
it.
just put this
I
together
just
3
put it
hours
together.
later.
3
Bryan,
hours later, yep, I just realized it.
It's like,
He brought in over here Tom Cruise. I like
Yeah.
it, dude.
how do
Justin
you know,
has been hitting the peyote all this
Yeah, I
time.
know. Sorry.
How do you know someone's a pilot? Well, they'll tell you. Yeah.
Oh, the vegan pilot.
Yeah.
Pickleball,
CrossFitter.
Yeah.
A CrossFit, bro.
Brian,
Hey.
wait, there's one thing about Brian, his experience that he did, because he told me about this and he said, you still dream about it a little bit. It was like your training that you had to do.
Oh, you're talking about SEER school?
Yeah.
Ooh, serious.
I have
I've
a
heard
nightmare
SEER school.
about it. So someone was talking about, was it you at the bar?
Did you
before?
do SEER training?
Yeah.
Damn, bro.
So Joel was saying that like him or one of his buddies had some like, the dream where it's like, you haven't done the one thing.
Right.
And so you're not going to graduate or you're not going to do this. You're not going to do that. Well, I have a theory now that it's just whatever the most stressful thing in your life was, because my dream is SEER school, and they come to me.
Dude, that's funny.
They come to me and they say, hey, like we look through your fold, like your jacket, right? And like you don't have a SEER school certificate anymore. So you have to go back.
Oof.
And I'm like, well then I quit because I'm not going back. So fuck you.
Dude, that's crazy you say that. Cause honestly, I have like some recurring dreams about law school.
Yeah. See,
I really do.
It's
like,
whatever the most like stressful.
Can I throw this out there? Have you heard of imposter syndrome?
I suffer from that so bad. Dude, I'm pretty sure I'm Don Draper. Like I got some serious imposter syndrome.
Yeah. No,
I'm
honestly,
constantly waiting for it.
In Bitcoin in particular, I think people are like, man, there's no way that, we can do this.
Right.
Or that,
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
It's just that it's just such a growing industry.
Right.
It's like,
Yeah.
Well, you're actually on the cutting edge of stuff
Right.
and you just don't know it.
Yeah.
Or like you're actually not that far off from an oil and gas guy. Like people just like, there's no way I can do this. Like, they're gonna find out I can't do it. It's like, no.
Yeah.
Entrepreneur, figure it out. You're like just as good as this guy. In
Right.
fact, you're probably better than this guy or gal over here.
It's almost like if you don't doubt yourself,
Yeah.
there's something wrong with you. You know what I mean? Like if you are an entrepreneur and you don't doubt yourself sometimes, there's something wrong with you. Like you have to doubt yourself at some point because it's so stressful.
Yeah.
You know what I
like
mean?
you're a sociopath.
Right.
If you don't.
Is there a
right?
differentiation between doubting yourself or doubting what you were doing at the time?
Right. Yeah. I would put those
Maybe.
together, right? You know what I mean? It's like, am I too early? Am I too late? What did I do? Like how did I get to this point?
I've doubted ideas. I've doubted strategies. So I've been on this entrepreneurial
I've doubted
journey
people
for 10 years now. There's only been a handful of times where I feel like I'm like really, really low, where I look at myself and I'm like, I'm doubting myself.
Right.
It's usually I'm doubting what I'm doing, but I think I've always had this, I don't know, intrinsic kind of motivation to where it's like, I know that as long as I put my head to this, I'm going to figure this problem out.
I want to start getting into some weird stuff right here. If we don't stop, because we started having some drinks and I could probably smoke a little bit or something, but
go on.
If you don't feel that ever, right? Like
you're not an entrepreneur.
You're not.
Yeah.
And that part is what comes with it, because you got to be there's a certain level of toughness that I think comes from a mental toughness.
I think the official term is grit.
Grit, whatever. Yeah.
It's interesting this comes up. I mentioned like Allie earlier, my mentor. I kind of think I think of him as my mentor.
Yeah.
And I was talking to him, and this was like probably like 3 or 4 years ago. Like Bill Fodl is like just like starting to get the initial traction. And like, I was just like, I don't know, man. Like, we're selling some stuff, but just that doubt kind of creeps in, And he was like, dude, I envy you, because like, you're going to look back on this and like, you're going to wish that you were back here and you had that like unsureness about everything. And like, you're like, your vision is unclear. Right. And it was really like weird, because like obviously at the time you're like, I'm fucking scared.
Yeah.
Like the road is unsure. Dude. It is terrifying. Like, how am I going to feed my
You got
my
kids on the line. You got so many things that go into like.
But he was kind of right.
He's totally right.
He's totally like, dude, it's exciting.
We're all dying. We're all gonna die.
Now,
all of us. Time out. I got to finish this.
I just say one thing.
All right.
The audience could not hear the silence, but we're all entrepreneurs, and we were hanging on every word he just said. We're just like 100%.
But it's true.
Yeah, it's true.
It's all true. It's like we are living out stuff that most people are never going to feel. Right? You know what I mean? Like,
choose not
to, because it's terrifying and it's scary and it's hard and I don't work on my own because I get more time or because I get more freedom. It's literally
it's the inverse.
It's the inverse. You
have no
more.
time. You have no
work
freedom.
Harder. You sacrifice more.
Yeah.
You put your kids on the back burner more. You put your spouse on the back burner more. It's hard. It's difficult. It's a struggle.
Being an entrepreneur is like, you almost have to be, and you have to be this way. It's not like you're just like,
no. And you
have to be almost self-centered in a way, because it's almost like bodybuilders, right? Like, it's not a team sport. It's all about you. Everything else is totally secondary to achieving your goal. And entrepreneurship is like no different, because there's long periods of time.
Right.
I always say that entrepreneurship is seasonal. At least it has been for me. There's certain seasons where I do 1 billion hours a day, like 7 days a week.
I remember
and that's like
I remember
6
you
months
showed me
straight.
the cot that you slept on. Like,
It's very likely after these drinks that I sleep on that cot tonight. You know? So there's other times where it's like, hey, like you're not really taking your foot off the gas, but you're not maybe quite as stressed as you've been. But don't worry, it's coming. You know, it's going to come back.
You know it's coming.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Always
it's like
coming
it's not
back.
going away.
Yeah.
And a part of it is if you're not feeling that on a regular cadence, what I've come to learn is you're not pushing yourself hard enough.
And the thing is, you can't even explain it to people.
As a guy,
you know what I mean?
as a guy who comes from corporate,
Me too.
You came from corporate, right? Your paycheck hits every 2 weeks. You do your thing. Your family's happy. Everybody's happy. When that cadence stops of you getting a constant paycheck, right? Fear sets in. You start hearing the wolf at your door. Right?
Yeah.
Dude, it reminds me of Puss in Boots. I watched it the other day with my kids, and this wolf is coming. He's death, right? And it's like, you hear him.
You do
all the time.
This is like the third time you brought up this movie.
I know,
this movie
dude.
really made an impact.
Well, it's kind of deep. You know
I need to go watch Puss in Boots, dude.
Yeah. Honestly, like I was talking to my wife the other day and was like, we don't get paid every month.
Mm-hmm.
We get and I didn't draw a paycheck from Bill Fodl for almost 3 years. Right. And then when bull market hit, it was like
gangbusters.
Yeah.
Like Rain Man, went crazy. And then we sold it. Right. So it's like, we're not going to get paid for 3 years. And then it's just like the heavens open up and like that is a very strange cadence to get paid for things.
See, that's why people can't do it.
Yeah.
That's why everybody can't do it, because it's so, to stay on the path to success is so freaking hard, dude. It's so hard to like stay dedicated and not let everybody else tell you, you're wrong, you're screwing up, you should be doing this. Even your own family sometimes is telling you, like, you're wrong. You're not doing you should be doing this. You should be doing that. And you want to listen to them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But it's like you have this deep-seated, ingrained
like you just
knowledge.
Know something's true. Yeah.
You know you can't stop.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Sorry, I get fired up.
No, man, but that's the thing.
This is a tchotchke or something.
Yeah.
Like I was told that.
Yeah.
Like you're selling a tchotchke. It's like, well,
I don't know what that means, but
you're not wrong. Like it kind of is like just like trinket, like a piece of trash.
Right.
You're a piece of trash, I think is what he said.
Like,
I'm not
geez,
sure.
Brian.
Like it is a very like strange object to sell. Like it's just a weird hunk of metal. But there's enough people who value it.
I was in school with Bryan when he was going through this, right? So we went through this battle, and then when we decided to do 10 net zero, I was like, man, I'm gonna quit my job. I'm gonna do this. He goes, "You're in for a world of hurt."
Right.
He knew the battle.
I knew what was coming for Joel, and I don't. Did you believe me?
You know what? I was like,
this is interesting. I've never asked him this before.
Nobody ever believes anybody.
Whatever.
I'm better than that.
Yeah, it's like
I was like in my heart.
For you, maybe.
In my heart, I was like, okay, maybe it'll take 6 months.
Yeah.
You know what? Maybe.
Yeah.
It's been a year and over that.
Yeah.
And 110%, it's like Bryan was 100% right. You completely changed the way that you live your life,
right?
Or the way you view life. Like the way that I viewed risk before I started this is completely different than the way I view risk now.
Right.
The way I view risk now is like, how much am I going to regret not doing this?
Right.
As opposed to when you have $150,000 salary saying, oh, I potentially lose that.
Yeah.
Or, whatever.
Dude, it's wild when you think about it.
It's completely different.
Yeah.
And when I look at my kids, I got two small boys, love them to pieces, Jack and Ben. It's like, I want them to be able to look at me and be like, that's what a man does right there. They go for something that they believe in and they want and they sacrifice.
And you build something.
And it builds something. Because that's what, honestly, I think that's what men do. Men build something. Whether they build a career or they build a family or they build a business or whatever, men build stuff. And I am very thankful. And I think you have a phenomenal wife, by the way. You need someone who's there to support you doing that kind of thing, because that, honestly, I think that's what actually makes the difference. Is the person supporting you while you want to.
If you don't have the support,
it's a rocky road regardless. But man, if you don't have
Right.
Man, yeah.
Dude.
It's rough.
We need it in there. That was dope.
Oh, yeah, I don't want to be the buzzkill. We've gone for an hour and a half, so.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
This has been fun.
Are there any
so
pressing questions that we can...
No, we'll have that in episode 2 with
All right.
Yeah, this is not a one-off.
Yeah.
This is like, this community's not that big, so we're going to have people on.
Yeah. We're going to be on.
Kind of rotating through.
I tell you what, I was super
This
excited.
was so much
man.
fun.
This is my first podcast I've ever done. I'm
What?
super freaking
Really?
excited. Yeah. Oh, well, man.
That's surprising to me.
I'm kind of new. Brian's got his own podcast, Rock and Roll.
Do you?
He did.
Yeah.
What is
Dude,
it?
yeah,
What is
give
it?
a plug here, buddy.
Unhashed Podcast, unhashedpodcast.com.
Okay.
Yeah. We're more on the tech side.
Yeah.
So, and we haven't put an episode out yet.
Nerds.
Super nerds.
Nerds.
I'm
Lame.
actually the like
Lame.
least nerdy of all the people there.
Yeah.
And I'm saying that as like
As a compliment.
to
Right.
the other people. Yeah. I just kind of, what I do is I say, oh, hey, Ruben,
Tell us
I
about
know
your
the
nerdy
answer.
shit,
I
man.
know the answer to this question, but some of our listeners might be wondering, and then I get to ask like
You get to ask on behalf of everybody
Yeah.
else, even though you're wondering yourself.
exactly.
Right. I get
yeah.
it. I get
so
it.
it's nice.
Well, dude, listen, both of y'all, thank you so much for coming on.
Had a
It's been
great
fun.
time.
I'm going
Thanks
to drink
so
on more
much.
podcasts.
This
We
is
do
fun.
more like
Yeah,
6
we do.
o'clock podcasts.
We,
Yeah.
like,
Late Friday,
Friday
night.
night,
Yeah.
get
I like
get
it.
lit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Something like that.
going to
is a lot
have,
of fun.
we got a lot coming up, some other shows with
Yeah.
some good dudes too. And dude, the best thing about this space is hanging out with your buddies, man. So,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fun. It's a lot of
I
fun. It's a
love it.
really, really good community. Everybody loves each other
yeah,
for the most part.
Yeah.
for the most part.
There's a few
For the most
people.
part.
who-
There's a couple D-bags in there, but
Yeah,
you know,
it's to be expected.
have to talk about
you know.
those
We
guys.
don't-
yeah.
Who are they? Could you please specify?
They're not getting
who
to
they-
come on.
We've got
the
a whole
show.
we've got a whole episode dedicated to the D-bags
Right,
and Bitcoin. So.
right.
The D-bags.
If they're not on here, it's because they're a D-bag.
There you go.
D-bags.
So now everybody that were like, I don't know if you go on.
We're
like,
gonna
oh,
have to start
shit.
asking. They're
We
gonna
heard the
wait,
episode where
clamoring. Am I a
Right.
D-bag? No. Thank you,
Yeah,
fellas.
yeah. Thanks y'all for
Appreciate
being
it.
here. Thanks
No,
everybody
thanks,
for
guys.
listening. The response so far has been absolutely amazing.
Like and subscribe, bro.
Like and subscribe. Hit the notification bell. We'll see you guys at Empower. It's going to be amazing. I think we had 1,200 last year. I think we landed at least 1,500, if not 2,000 people this year.
Jake promised
So-
he's gonna get me on some panels.
That's
I'm
awesome.
going to get you on some panels, dude. We're going to make it happen.
So
and then
you'll-
Joel, we're going to sing the Bitcoin song. So
And Jake's gonna drink champagne. I think
I'm going
he
to drink
said.
champagne. I'm
Yeah.
taking my shirt off. We're
There
going to
we
have a
go.
good time.
Nice.
Woo!
Love it.
We'll see you
Thank
guys in the next episode.
Thank you.
All right.